Hello, everyone. Today, I would like to inform you all about the importance of organ donation in our nation. Did you know that every day in the United States, 16 people die waiting for an organ that they will never receive? Organ donation is the gift of life that we as people can give to one another. So if you are not an organ donor, throughout this presentation, I would like you to ask yourself why. There are so many false myths and theories about organ donation, but these false narratives should not deter you all from becoming organ donors to help save lives. First, I would like to talk about the wait list. What is the waitlist? According to UNOS, the waitlist is a comprehensive list of registered patients in need of organ transplant. It is based on a dynamic matching system rather than a first-come, first-served basis. Subsequently, the way it works is it matches an organ to a patient based on many factors such as a patient's condition and location. The organization that is responsible for overseeing everything involved with organ donation is UNOS, the United Network for Sharing Organs. They are a nonprofit organization that manage every registered organ transplant in the U.S., and this umbrella includes waitlist, distribution, and transplantation of organs. Here are some important waitlist statistics I think you guys should know. There are currently a total of 104,556 people on the waitlist as of October 11th, 2024. To this total, there are 58,789 people on the active waitlist, meaning they are in current need of an organ transplant. The other 50,000 people on the waitlist are inactive, meaning that there is something that needs to be resolved before they can get a transplant, such as a medical issue, or they are not in immediate need of a transplant and their issues can be managed through other means such as medication. Another shocking statistic is that every day, 450 people are added to the waitlist, both active and inactive. Doing some quick math, we can see that this means one person is added to the waitlist every 8 minutes. I've included a graph displaying the distribution of people on the waitlist by age from the Healthcare Resources and Services Administration. As you can see, the majority of people are in the range of 50 to 64, but there are people in every age group, meaning that no one is exempt from the possibility of needing a transplant. Next, I'll highlight the benefits of organ donation. First up on the list of benefits is utilization, which is how a person who is a donator is utilized to the greatest capacity. One person can save up to 8 lives and improve up to 75. How, you may ask? Well, organ donation is actually not limited to just organs, depending on how you decide to register. There is also the possibility of donating your other soft tissues, such as corneas, skin, ligaments, tendons, and so much more. I can speak from personal experience that my mother last year had a full ACL replacement from a cadaver because her ACL was too deteriorated to be reconstructed. These donations not only can save lives, but also improve the quality of life in many patients like my mother. I have provided you with a table of all the organs that one person can donate, along with the demand to show that one person can save multiple lives. Not only are there benefits to people receiving these transplants, but there are also clinical benefits. Some of these clinical benefits would include things such as medical advancements in the field that could make it easier and more efficient for transplantation, such as figuring out a way to make organs viable for longer after they are harvested. This can also include improving current methods, which could in turn potentially decrease the mortality rate in transplants recipients. For the next topic, I would like to discuss some fallacies that are often seen or heard when it comes to organ donation and provide some clarification. Let's begin by talking about hospital care. There are many rumors when it comes to a donor's care within a hospital setting that I would like to shed some light on. The first subject is brain death. Brain death is basically when a patient's brain is no longer has any function, in which they are considered legally dead. Contrary to popular belief, brain death is not reversible and is also not the same as being comatose, in which a patient can come back from. In actuality, when a patient is declared brain dead, more tests tend to be ran on a person who is a donor than a person who isn't a donor to make sure they are truly brain dead before proceeding with organ harvesting. Moving on, there's also fear surrounding how a donor versus a non-donor is cared for in a hospital. I'd like to establish first that when it comes to the physicians who would be attempting to save a patient's life, they can have no contact or influence by the transplant team if the patient was a donor. To follow that point, every patient is administered the same life-saving care no matter if they are a donor or not. Seen pictured on the chart is a study conducted in 2022 of 1,000 U.S. citizens asked if they think donors are more or less likely to be administered life-saving care than those who are not donors. Out of these stats, 11 people said less likely and a whole 33% weren't sure. If you're a person who falls under these categories, I'm here to tell you that, again, you will receive the same care regardless of being a donor or not. Next, I would like to move on to some misunderstandings when it comes to qualifications. If we take a look at this bar graph, which is from the same study as previously mentioned, we can see that 55% think that you must be in good health to become an organ donor, and 28% of people are not sure. In actuality, there are very few medical conditions that would exempt somebody completely from becoming an organ donor. Looking on the graph, 19% of people think there is an age limit on organ donation, and 59% of people are not sure. This is also false. There is no age maximum or minimum when it comes to organ donation. The only thing that can determine somebody's ability to donate is their condition at the time someone becomes deceased. Last on this list is economic misconceptions. What I mean by this is being under the impression that the deceased patient's family would be financially responsible for the transplantation process. But this is also not true. The only financial aspect that the family of the deceased would be responsible for would be measures taken before the death. The recipient is responsible for the cost of everything involving the transplant. Now that I have addressed some misconceptions, I would like to show you the process of organ donation and how to become a donor yourself. Here I have listed the basics on how organ donation works to make sure you are all well informed of the procedure. First, everything possible is done to save a patient's life before they are declared brain dead by at least 2 physicians that again have no interaction or connection to the transplant team. Organs are then harvested as soon as possible due to their volatility. Depending on the organ, they can be viable from 6 to 36 hours post-harvest. Then they are matched with a person on the waiting list who again depends on condition, location, and genetics. Finally, they are transplanted into their respective recipients. Now that you are well informed about the processes, I'm going to show you how you can become a donor yourself. The most common way people have heard is registering at the DMV when you're renewing or receiving your ID. But this is not the only way. I would just suggest signing up through your state's registry, but if you're having trouble finding it, you can go to the HRSA website and under the tab where it says sign up to be a donor, as shown on the screen, you can select your state and it'll direct you straight to their registry. If that also seems too hard, you can also simply register through your iPhone's health app. I hope this presentation has given you some new insight and perspective on the topic of organ donation. This nation and its people have been suffering from the lack of transplant organs, which is caused by the antagonizing narratives that are pushed to the forefront of this topic. Now that I've informed you of these false allegations, registering should be easier than ever. So I would encourage each and every one of you to register today to help contribute to the cause that is saving lives now and in the future. Thank you.